towards Odegaard. Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, welcome to New York Talk, to the final New York Talk of the year as 2021 comes to an end. We were meant to be talking about the Lincoln game. We'll talk about the postponement and how that happened 24 hours after we talked about the game. And we're going to look ahead to Bolton, assuming that goes ahead. Ian Everett's whinging about it. We'll cover it. And also, it's the end of the year, so we're going to go through a few highlights. Danny's done some polls, which we'll follow through on Twitter as well, which will give you the results of through there as well. I have a full house. We have Mick, Danny, and Benjamin are with us. Thank you for joining us, boys.
Hello.
Hello.
So, 2021's nearly ended, Mick. Let's start with a few moments of the year before we get into this properly. Because we'll go through the results now as well. We'll pick our best player and all that sort of nonsense. So if anybody wants to let us know in the comments, do that as well. Mick, let's give you your Rotherham United moment of the year.
Tough one, isn't it? I think it's going to be the one that the vast majority of people go for, isn't it? And that's another last-minute winner at Swillsborough. It's got to be, hasn't it? You know, yeah. I mean, there's been. We've had a 21-game unbeaten run, which is also outstanding. I don't want to nick anybody else's, but...
Let's just say everything. Just go on.
I mean, it's a toss-up for me between that and that 15, 20 minutes against Portsmouth where we just blew them away completely. But I think Freddie's goal tops it for me. I think that's the moment of the year, despite that didn't do us any good in the end.
No, that's true. Yeah. Ben, again, you've missed not most, but partial of this season because you've been away. Where do you stand on the whole moment of the year?
1 second.
It's got to be Freddie, hasn't it? I mean, he's not really...
You were in bed.
I know. What's that?
Yes, you were in bed. We didn't watch you long and you bailed on us at half time.
No, yeah, I think I had a call, though. Oh, no, yeah, I had a call. I bailed on at half time because I had a call. So apology accepted, but
there was no apology from me, my friend.
Probably the Freddie. Yeah, because I remember just waking up in the morning and seeing Mick's face all over Facebook.
So you were asleep.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't asleep.
I bet embarrassing, wasn't
it? When the first time that Mick were famous with Wednesday fans this year.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. I'm going to go pick something different, and I'm going to say the Plymouth game, the first game back at a full stadium. We've talked about it a lot. We talked about it with Barlasser, Victor, and Woody. I'll never forget that day. That was so special. I mean, having 18 months out of football, people laugh and joke about football being one thing or another, but it's just where you go. It's just what you do. And to not have that for such a long period of time, I personally find it tough. I know a lot of other people find it tough. And to just the build up, you get in there early. The build up to it, the players coming out, the first scoring of the first goal, everything about it was just how I wanted it to be. It was just a perfect day, and incredible. It might, probably my moment of the season at the end. But Danny, where's yours?
This is Rotherham United related, yeah.
Rotherham one, yeah.
Right. I sort of like your one where it's the first time back at New York, you know, again against Plymouth. But I'm going to have to say the unbeaten run of 21 games, being the mad statman that I am, to say it's a club record and it's been achieved this season, just in the 2021 aspect of this season is incredible. So yeah, I'm going to go with that one.
I like it. I like it very much. If anybody wants to give us theirs, please let us know in the comments. If you listen to the podcast, feel free to tweet us on Facebook or messages, whatever. Let us know what yours are, and we will share them. If you've got any New Year's resolutions for Rotherham going forward as well, we'd like to know those as well. I'm not asking everybody now; that's putting everybody on the spot. Maybe a section. It depends how much time we need to fill. Darts is on, so we're not going to take too much time tonight. So we'll go through some comments. Tez and Shaz Johnson, is it still on? The Lincoln the Bolton game. As things stand, yes. We'll talk about Ian Evatt in a minute because he didn't want it to be on. Harvey Kellick's with us. Thank you for joining us. Russ Vernon, Happy New Year to us all and to yourself, Russ. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Russ.
Yeah, Happy New Year, mate.
Reece Kellick, evening all. And Robert Cooper, open the Millers.
I think he means up the Millers. Don't you, Rob?
I think you might do. I think autocorrect has screwed you over.
Autocorrect.
Yeah, brilliant. So we ended the show on Monday. Looking forward to Lincoln City coming to New York Stadium. Basically, 24 hours later, it all happened quite quickly. We got found that they couldn't put a team out, so the game was postponed. There was a little bit of conspiracy theorists out there, Danny. Not as many as there are Wigan fans tonight, which again we'll cover in a minute. But if they ain't got a team, they ain't got a team. I think we're one of the most sympathetic. Where if you say you ain't got a team, just call it off if you can. If you have got players, if you aren't, I was annoyed, frustrated, but just one of the things, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was quite funny to see some fans react the same way that other fans reacted to when we were calling games off because all the squad had COVID. It's like, a bit of a short memory syndrome there. But, Lincoln, with their COVID outbreak, it does seem a little bit sullen. And I am a little bit suspect it's come from MK Dons. Being a southern team and this new variant is rife in the south of England. So I'm a little bit suspect it may have come from them. I'm not too sure. But in the light of games being called off so late, like with the Hull game, the EFL have changed the regulation where they're not doing on-the-day testing anymore. As long as it's 24 hours before the game, if enough players are negative, you're still going to play. But it also comes in the light of a lot of, how do I say it delicately? A lot of whinging from Premier League managers about not being able to field teams and player welfare. Now, the player welfare bit I understand, right? That's why you call off the games, because it's the welfare of your players. I think we're past the time of, well, if as long as you've got 6 players, you can play a game. We're well past that time in football now. But with the welfare of the players, Millwall put out a team and they had a 15-year-old on the bench just to fill up numbers. And Premier League teams have got vast swathes of academy players who are first-team quality in more or less all 3 leagues in England. And to whinge about not being able to fill a bench, and Chelsea's got 200 million worth of players on the bench, So it's a strange time with COVID in football because everybody else just seems to be getting on with it and cracking on with it like in the EFL, but the Premier League do like a whinge, don't they?
Certain managers do, yeah.
Yeah, certain managers do.
Yeah, to be fair to...
they're all right and it's not a serious outbreak and they can crack on soon enough.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, it's Sean Dyche that is the voice of reason in the Premier League. You talk about players' welfare and things like that. It makes a very, very good point. Players' welfare is as good now as it's ever been in the entire history of sport. Football is at the forefront of player welfare in most areas. So for Klopp and people like that to suggest that player welfare, and Ian Evatt to suggest that player welfare is not taken care of, it is.
What does that mean?
It just means making sure they're safe and well and that they can play safely. Safeguarding type thing. I think. I'm assuming because they're all very...
Mental health, physical health.
They're all handily vague about it, so they don't have to explain themselves very well.
I struggle to understand any of it, to be honest.
I think they mean on this occasion. I think they mean physical welfare, not mental welfare. It's all about playing too many games in too many days and things like that.
Jesus,
where was his argument when we in April? Exactly. Where was the argument then? It was just get on with it. You'll be fine. You can play Barnsley. Just have that go on and figure.
Yeah, nobody were bothered. Again, I mentioned it earlier. Wigan against Accrington has been called off on New Year's Day. Accrington did play on Wednesday night. I think. What day is it?
Wednesday night.
Yeah. Wednesday night. Accrington was on Wednesday night. They drew against Shrewsbury. Had to play a lot of kids because their seniors had COVID, and now the kids have got COVID. So they've had to call it off. Fair enough. Wigan's chairman has now got involved for some reason. Andy Holt put something about when the Wigan chairman first took over. He put something about he's going to transform the club, blah blah blah. And Andy Holt made a jokey comment about here's another one. So as soon as the game's got called off tonight, the Wigan chairman, here's another one. Quite funny, but it's a bit silly. People getting upset about it. Mickey's again. We know more than anybody. It's all a bit silly getting upset about it, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what can you say? It's just people whinging and wanting to whine about, it doesn't suit me kind of situation. If they've got enough players, you talk about. I mean, the Premier League thing is just embarrassing. It is genuinely embarrassing. I mean, we all know all they're interested in is a winter break. That's all they're after. That's the agenda. It's got nothing to do with COVID. It's got nothing to do with player welfare. It's got nothing at all to do with any of that. If you just want a winter break, and so that's what they're all banging on about. It does appear that I've read or heard somewhere that have the EFL not inserted some sort of get out clause in terms of COVID/injuries in this.
I don't know.
I've read it in a couple of places. Now, whether that's just somebody's interpretation of what the EFL's stance is on this, but it does appear that some of these teams are looking at injuries, including injuries in their lack of players.
Well, this was a question I wanted to raise because we played Gillingham earlier in the season, who had 4 subs on the bench.
Yeah.
So if they had one COVID case in their squad, that means they can call off a game. But then other teams can have 10 COVID cases and not have games called off.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it?
It should, for me, it should all be down to COVID cases. Bolton had 20 COVID cases. I think that's pretty fair that their games were called off because of the amount of number you've got. If they had 3 COVID cases and 10 injuries, that shouldn't be called off. It's not COVID's fault you haven't got a big enough squad to start with.
I think that's what Millwall did. Millwall had only a few COVID cases, but the rest were injuries. So they brought in the younger players. And like I said, with that 15-year-old, they had to get permission from his school and his mum and dad to play the game. Because if you're under 16, you have to do that, apparently. But yeah, if that is a clause in the EFL where it's like 14 players, and including a goalkeeper, who don't have COVID or injuries, it's a bit... I'm sure it should be just a COVID protocol. If he's injured, he's injured. You know what I mean? But if they've got COVID and they have to go into isolation for 7 days, that's a point where you have to go, yeah, you can't help that. But if he's injured, that's not something to do with the health of the player. That's his own fault for being injured for whatever means it is. So if he's injured, that's when you have to put out less substitutes. You know what I mean? I mean, how many substitutes did we have against Barnsley? Did we have 3 on bench and 1 were a goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think so. They were 2 goalkeepers on bench.
Yeah, both Vickers and Blackman on bench, I think.
Yeah, and we had a 5 sub rule, but we only had like 3 players available to actually go on and play. Now, all the whinging from different clubs, I think it is very much agenda-based of, it doesn't suit us, we're going to complain about it, like with Wigan chairman. Because you don't hear Tony Stewart complaining, do you?
No.
You hear him complain about 3 games called off, having to play 4 games in 8 days, and playing Barnsley on the day of players coming out of isolation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, each subbed their own, but I think the EFL set the precedent when they shoved all the games into our April calendar. And then just went, yeah, you can just deal with that, off you go. Yeah. That's the precedent they've set already, so they have to stick to it to just show they actually have a little bit of integrity to them.
It does, unfortunately, though, because of the prevalence of it this year, it does raise a potential issue where, for example, Sheffield United so far, I think, have had 3 games cancelled, all due to the opposition. So Sheffield United's calendar could, it probably won't, but it could end up being like ours, and they've not had a single COVID case. So, listen, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one, but I would argue very strongly that they set a precedent last year, did the EFL, and I would suggest they probably won't agree with that. But we'll wait and see, won't we? And as far as Tuchel or whatever his name is concerned at Chelsea,
Tuchel,
whatever his name,
what did he? What's he said now?
There's a dodgy joke you can make with his name, but we'll carry on.
I mean, we ain't got enough players. His bench against Brighton the other night were worth 148 million or something like that. But not only that, they've got 40 count them, 40 players out on loan across Europe. Now, either they're good enough so you can call them back in and get them in squad, or they're not, so sell them and buy some proper players. You know what I mean? Don't moan about having too many games to play. You've got enough there, including with your first team squad, to have 4 full first teams. So it's just embarrassing, man. Honestly, it's absolutely embarrassing. I just hope, from a Rotherham United point of view, that the Lincoln game is the only one that we suffer, because I just get cold shivers running down my spine thinking about last year, and is that going to happen to us again? But this time, not because we've got COVID. It is a worry, isn't it? It is a worry.
It is. We've got the Lincoln game to fit in somewhere. We still have, as far as I can remember, we still haven't rescheduled the Shrewsbury game from the last international break. We are going to have another international break, which is when we're meant to play Sunderland, I think in March. So that's going to be fitted in somewhere else. If we progress in the FA Cup, that'll be another game we have to try and fit in somewhere.
Same with Pizza Cup as well.
Same with Pizza Cup. If we're successful in that, there might be that's going to take up more Tuesday night slots.
Why don't we just play them in international break? We're only losing 3 players or whatever it is. We play international break.
We can.
Because that's regulation.
Play. Yeah,
we're not allowed.
We can play, but if we're losing Chio and Shane Ferguson, why would we play?
So it's better that than them playing too many games and getting injured, isn't it?
Yeah. What you're doing there is you're going down the Chelsea route, aren't you?
No, well, it's different, ain't you? Well, within your rights, you're an international break to not play. The rules say if you have 3 or more, you're within your rights.
But then we can't.
What's fine? Losing Chio and Ferguson, it's 2 players.
Well, JJ would go and possibly Wes Harding.
JJ don't play him. Harding hasn't really played the past couple of weeks, has he?
He started, didn't he?
Yeah, they didn't start the week before. He didn't start against
Cambridge.
He
came on, didn't he? He came on for Reg, didn't he? Reg has been playing, yeah.
When is this international break in March, by the way?
Let me have a look.
Every other week,
isn't it? Sunderland, 26th of March. Feels like Sunderland.
So it's back end of month.
Yeah.
Who will lose? Chio, JJ, and who?
Ferguson and possibly Harding, but Harding hasn't been called up.
Harding
times. Yeah.
Jamaica.
Yeah. It's a shame as that Sunderland game. Sunderland on Saturday afternoon, late March, has been really good as well. That's another blow. But anyway, that's one topic ticked off the list.
This is actually getting quite frightening because we've only got 7 free Tuesdays until end of season to squeeze games in.
And that'll go down if we get through Pizza Trophy.
Yeah, which will go down if we progress. So we've got Shrewsbury that needs rearranging, Lincoln that now needs rearranging, Sunderland which will most likely need rearranging because they're international breaks. So that's 3. Plus any other COVID outbreaks. So maybe stick on, I don't know, maybe 2 more just because. Yeah. So that gives us very, very little wiggle room. So you can understand what AFL's gone, we're not testing on day anymore because people are starting to run out of Tuesdays. And we don't want what happened last season because obviously the AFL have seen what happened to us last season because the amount of reports that must have been on their desk going, I want to postpone another game.
Yeah.
They must have looked at it and gone, we don't want this happening again. Because it does affect every other team's season as well. So that's probably why they've gone, mate, we'll just do it 24 hours before, and then if enough test positive, then fair enough. But with on the day, we'll get rid of that, so we can actually get more games played. Because if more teams start dropping like flies, which they will probably do until at least the end of January, they will probably have to look at extending the season by at least 2 weeks.
What's the problem with that? I don't understand.
They've shot themselves in the foot by ending it so early. It's ending at least a week early. In the 30th
why are we not allowed to extend the season 3-4 weeks? Player welfare. Is it player welfare?
They don't want to do it because they like to have the playoffs set in stone because that's the money maker. That's the real money maker of the playoffs. They won't, the EFL and Sky don't make any money from League Two until playoffs. Similarly with League One, from a television point of view. And obviously, who don't watch the Championship playoff final? It's one of the most interesting games. So they can't
get out of it.
But they can't. From a financial point
of
view,
awful quality. I'd rather watch League Two than Championship.
It's not.
League
I'm
Two
not
is
saying
better
it's good
quality.
quality. I'm
League Two
not
is
saying
better football.
Playoff finals can be terrible quality. They are still entertaining because of the stakes that are on offer. That's why they're interesting. That's why the people watch them.
And the Championship playoff is the most beneficial playoff in the world in terms of money that you win.
Why did everybody watch Formula One Grand Prix, the last one at season? Because so much was at stake, and that's why people watch the Championship playoffs.
Let's not get.
It's the same reason. It's the same reason.
No, F1 was interesting.
From an audience point of view, Ben, not from a quality point of view, from an audience point of view, it's the same reason. Because people want to watch it. That's why they won't move it.
Less every year.
As Russ Vernon will point out, FIFA won't allow the Premier League to extend due to the World Cup 2022. The knock-on effect of the World Cup being in Qatar is that we will have an earlier start next season, as has all been publicised already.
Yeah, it'll start a couple of weeks into July.
All of our players will get a month off.
That's fantastic. But we've still got to start in July. The season still starts earlier, so you've got a shorter mid-season break.
To be fair, though, if we're in, heaven forbid, if we're still in League One for next season, we don't actually have to do the winter break.
No.
But we do miss out on players because of international break, so we would get games pulled off anyway. But if we're in the Championship, isn't it like we have 2 weeks? No, we have a week set in stone for whatever group stage, and then every other game you'll have to ask for permission to call it off.
Yeah, depending on who's left.
I think that's how it works.
Break, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So the Championship would start at least 2 match days earlier in the summer than it would normally. So you're probably looking at around about the 21st of July, I think.
Yeah. Ben's birthday. Anyway, we've took 22 minutes on that. Let's move on. Before we move on, Mick, would you like to say thank you to a polite offer you had this week?
Yeah. It's just a big thank you to Steve Adams. Steve, who lives in Carnarvon in North Wales, who's offered me the use of his Wi-Fi. Because when I'm over there, my co-op Wi-Fi is not brilliant. So I really appreciate it, Stephen. You never know. There's a possibility I might take you up on it when I'm not there with my wife, who won't allow me the extra hour and a half that it's going to take to get there. But listen, Steve, really appreciate it. Thank you, mate. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Stephen. Now, something slightly different. Before we go on to the Bolton game, we had a conversation with Victor Johansson about he didn't have a song.
Oh no, this isn't what I think it is it?
This is what Danny thinks it is. And a thank you to RUC Tiny, who has caught some fans singing Victor's song. So here's a little taste. Listen for everybody who hasn't already heard it.
Monkey back on where we first met. I cannot escape and I cannot forget. 1 year, another one. Used to set me on. Brothers going up again.
Now, Danny, who came up with that song?
I did. I did. Oh dear. I feel sorry for the guy who got Warney instead of Johansson, but as it is a Southgate song, I'm not surprised. But I really hope Victor actually heard it, because I was going to sing it at Lincoln, but now that's been called off. I'll have to wait until New Year's Day. But a few people got involved with it, which were quite fun. I will admit that I sound extremely drunk singing that. It's all the beers on the bus.
Yeah, thank you, Tiny, for that one.
I've got a bit of breaking news for you if you're interested.
Bolton's off, right?
So the game's been called off, is it?
No.
Where's they losing?
We're no longer top of the league. Sunderland are currently beating the Pigs 2-0.
That's great news for people
on audio
tuning in
on Friday morning. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But to be fair, I mean, it will be heartbreaking for Sheffield Wednesday to lose the longest current record in English football, unbeaten record in English football, won't it?
Of 12 games.
12 full games.
I mean, you shouldn't laugh because 12 games is still an achievement, but the fact that 5 of them have been, is it 5? Yeah, only 5 of them have been wins.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like, we had an unbeaten run last season. How many games did you draw? 3 at 5. But no, Sunderland have done all right there.
Yeah,
I have had someone just say to me that the EFL actually starts on the 30th of July next season.
There you go. It's already a condensed season.
Yep.
Anyway. On highlights, we've done that one. Bolton Wanderers. That's where we should be starting on Saturday afternoon.
Was that a slip? Was that a slip or was that deliberate? Bolton Wanderers.
I didn't catch that, to be fair. That was quite funny.
We're all wondering if they're going to turn up on Saturday, aren't we?
Well, Ian Everett's best team in League One, best team in the league, according to Ian Everett, early on the season.
Said that?
Their manager said they're the best team in the league. We've got that's Wayne Rooney's Derby County. It's the best team in the league. Bolton Wanderers is their official name. So have some show the name with some respect, then, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. I apologise to everybody, all the massive Bolton fans.
Now this game again, it's scheduled to be on. Ian Everett is really, really not happy about it being on. I'll see if I can find some quotes from it because it is a little bit pathetic. Mick, do you have sympathy for them? From what I can see, they have been training for 2 or 3 days now. Their training complex is open. They have been doing training. Thoughts?
So let me get this right. What you're asking me is, have I got any sympathy for Bolton having to play a game, having just come out of the COVID bout? I mean, why? Why would I? And that's not a slight or a snap at Bolton or Bolton Wanderers or anybody else. No, I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy for any team that has to do it because we were forced to do it last year. We were forced to do it when the isolation period was 10 days. We were forced to come out of it at 9 to play a game. And we ended up, like we've already said, with 2 goalkeepers and kit man on bench. You know what I mean? And we were scrapping relegation. We were fighting relegation. So no, I've got no sympathy whatsoever. It's now 3-0 Sunderland, by the way. So that's going to go along. So no, I have no sympathy. I'm sorry, Ian. And ultimately, this is a dig at Bolton. If he was confident in what he said about them being the best team in the league, it shouldn't be a problem for him. And to be fair, they've recruited quite a lot of players. If memory serves me, at the beginning of this season,
I thought they had, yeah.
I may be wrong on that, so I'm not going to. I won't hang my hat on it, but not our problem, mate. Not our problem. No. Just like ours wasn't anybody else's problem last season.
No. Some quotes for him. We still have key players missing, and I think player welfare is a topical discussion at the moment. He goes on to say that the players who return for training are struggling with their breathing, and the intensity of football. It's not really good at all. Nobody knows the answers. Nobody knows the answers to that, but it has to be taken into consideration. Well, if nobody knows the answer to it, you can't take it into consideration, can you?
Well,
that's the problem with that.
It's not really reading the room very well either about the player welfare comment, is it?
No.
Because it might be a topic of conversation, but nobody agrees with it. There's only 3 people who've got on there's 3 people on one side of argument, and however many hundreds of thousands on other. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
It's interesting. He says about player welfare and the struggling with the intensity of football with the breathing. I don't think anyone took that into consideration when we played Barnsley the day after isolation ended.
Yeah.
I think if it were against any other club, I think the other club's manager would go, yeah, we sort of see where you're coming from, Ian. But because it's playing Rotherham and we've already been there and done that, it's just, right, get your boot bag and turn up because we're playing.
Yeah. Well, it's very much like last year.
However, it could all be mind games.
I think it's mind games.
We have seen it in the past because the whole best team in league comment came about just before they played us, and then we battered them 2-0. And so I don't know if it could be mind games again, where we expect them to be a bit of a depleted side and then they somehow sneak a 1-0 win. I'm not sure. But we have to learn that mind games don't really work with Rotherham because it's very because Warney and the squad seem to see through mind games very easily.
He's going to have to get up a lot earlier than that to put wool over Warney's eyes, isn't he?
Yeah, Warney goes for a run at 7 o'clock in the morning. Come on, Ian.
Yeah. I don't think that as a management team, he said he listens to all press match conferences and things like that. I think that's for team news. Ian Everett's giving nothing away, so they're not getting anything from it. Paul doesn't strike me as the type of person, unless he's said something bad about Rotherham. I can't believe there was something last season who said something and then used it as a sort of, I can't believe where now. But I remember Warney saying, that character.
They pinned it up on dressing room wall or something.
Yeah.
Didn't they? Oh, who said it?
I can't remember. It was definitely last season, though, wasn't it?
What Carl Robinson was it?
That wouldn't surprise me. That's something I'd do.
Well, it's either going to be Ian Everett, Carl Robinson, or Paul Cook, and it wouldn't have been Paul Cook because he wasn't at Ipswich yet.
No, not sure. Anyway, I remember him saying something. Paul, they just play the game. They play the players. They play the football game. They concentrate on the football side of things, unless it can benefit us. And playing mind games don't really benefit us, does it? Ben, they have had 20 COVID cases. They're saying they still don't have a full squad back. What do you think? Do you think it's mind games? What do you think? We're trying to guess through fog here, but what do you think?
What do I think? It's hard to tell because it could be mind games. It could be true. If they've got 11 players, they should be able to play a game.
14.
All right, 14 then. Even though 2 of them will be keepers, so they're not really subs, are they? But whatever.
A keeper.
I really struggle with it because, whatever. It's just, and I really struggle. Why can't you play the game? If you're coming back from COVID, I've never had COVID, so I'm kind of asking you, why can't you play a game?
It's because COVID is a respiratory virus. It sort of sits here on your chest, so that's where the whole breathing problem side comes from it. But I get what you're saying. As long as you've got your within reason 14, including a goalkeeper, there should be no reason why you can't play a game.
I mean, people have played sports with a lot worse in the past, so I don't see the problem.
In football, it used to be right. The 11 players that turn up, that is your team, and if one of them comes down injured, tough luck.
Well, it's football nowadays, isn't it? It's not really. It's the what's the word that's. It's the.
Looking forward to this word.
It is the lightest on the body sport that I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Where how good the pitches are and things like that. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So like Matt said earlier, it's the highest player welfare has been considered both physically and mentally ever in football.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand it. You should sort it. Whatever. No. Whatever.
Go on.
I'd say you should sort it sent out. Like certain people, yeah, they definitely need help. But I mean, there's not every single player on team. There's got to be some people that have got to be like, this is my life. I need to do something about it, not wait for someone to come and help me. Got to be some people like that. Some people need help, that's fine, but there's got to be some people. It's like, I've had COVID, but it's a game of football. It's 90 minutes. Whatever.
Brian Vernon, when he was young, they had one sub play.
Yeah,
Do you remember when they had no subs, Mick, or was that before your time?
That was before me. That was before my time. But yeah, it's certainly one sub. So you basically 1 to 11 on pitch and number 12 at sub.
Yeah, but that's why people back then played football because they want to play football. I think a lot of people play football nowadays because it's a job.
As a job.
Yeah. Because they want to play football. If they wanted to play football, they'd be in there even if they had COVID. Even if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. If you're coming back from COVID, whatever.
Philip Rawlinson has audience participation, which we appreciate. Having had COVID many months ago, still struggling to walk a flight of stairs. So how an athlete is affected, who knows? That's perfectly good. Yeah, I accept that, and that is a very valid point. But my counteraction would be, if I was the EFL, would be, unless half the squad has been affected in that way, that's not really football's problem. In the nicest way possible, the chances of 10 players being affected long term is slim. It's possible, of course, it's possible, but it's slim. And we're all told if you're fit and healthy, then things should affect you less as well. So these are the fittest and healthiest people in the country, realistically. Let's wait and see. I'm still on the side of it being a mind game. Let's wait and see. The good news is...
Not a very good mind game.
No, I think it's rubbish, to be honest with you. But is he never... he was one that thought it was a good idea to tell everybody he's got best team in league. Even if you think you've got best team in league, you don't have to come out and say it, do you?
Well, in league. Well, okay, well, no, you know what? Even if they do have best team in league, to say that, I mean, are they in league? Wow. So he's got the best team in the league, and they're doing 15th. So what a good manager that guy is.
I actually didn't think Bolton were that low. Good lord.
They're only 6 points off relegation zone, but yeah. If you hadn't said that, we would be talking about how decent a job Bolton have done because they've just come up last year. So to be there is fine. That's not a bad place to be. It's just the comments from him.
They're in Premier League 10 years ago. It's not a good place to be at all. It's not a good place to be at all.
They got promoted last season.
They're in Premier League 10 years ago.
Historically, it's not a good position, but yeah. I mean, it wasn't too long ago. They were in what were it? A UEFA Cup final.
UEFA Cup quarter final, I think.
Quarter final, that were it.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, Bolton have had to go through, and the fans have had to go through the hell of well, God only knows what with owners and everybody else.
Anderson, what was his name?
Club.
Keith Anderson.
I have no idea. I have no idea. But so from that point of view, from the rebuilding job that they've done, it's excellent, and it is a good position to be in. I guess if you're an old school Bolton Wanderers fan, then you're probably thinking, yeah, all right, we've come up, we'll just consolidate it and we'll kick on again. If you're a millennial Bolton fan, then you can't understand why you're not winning every single game every week, like all millennial Rotherham fans. But it's true, though, isn't it?
That's a dig at Wanderers. I'll tell you now,
it's not, is it? But it's a dig at what we talked about in the last podcast, where we've gone 21 unbeaten, and then we lose a game, and all of a sudden Warney's crap at Chio's worst winger in division, and so on and so forth. So it's like, it is what it is. But it's a tough situation for them as supporters, but manager's not doing himself any favours as he is. No. He's spouting off. But anyway, whatever.
No. Bolton fan Joe Aspinall, Joe Altonan here. If you don't beat us by 8, there's something wrong. We shall see.
I mean, it was 6-1 last time at New York, so anything could happen.
That's true. So I thought this might be an hour episode, but I feel like we're going to go over because we've already done 37 minutes and we haven't really talked about Rotherham yet. Ben's bedtime will have to be pushed back. Sorry, Ben. One of the two biggest bits of news. Let's talk about the sort of feel-good one first of all, Mick. Angus MacDonald is essentially back in full training. Ben's off. Shame. Angus is essentially back in full training. He's played part of a game, just 3 20-minute spells or something like that. We're not far off seeing him back in a red and white shirt, away, and that's great news.
Oh, mate, honestly, that's it's a new signing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like signing a Championship central defender, left-sided Championship central defender, which are like rocking horse muck, aren't they? So, absolutely brilliant. And none of us know what the issue's been, whether it's been a return to what the issue he had previously, or whether it's been some sort of injury or what. We don't know what it is, but it's absolutely fantastic news to see him back in full training. I caught a couple of videos that the club have released over the last couple of days, and he looks happy, he looks smiley, he looks to be the player he was sort of 18 months ago, in himself. So it'd be absolute massive to get him back. Massive. Particularly not wanting to be a doom merchant if Huddersfield do decide to recall Reg or sell him somewhere else, then obviously that's great for us. It just negates that as an issue.
Does he go straight back into the team for you?
I don't know.
That's the big question, isn't it? That's the
Yeah,
big
it is.
question.
Really?
Not at the
I don't
moment.
want
I don't know.
I don't want to put a damp on his return and recovery or whatever, but I don't remember it being that good.
You were a big critic of him last year.
Yeah,
I
well,
didn't see the good. I don't want to damp it, but I didn't see what.
Towards the end of the season, he had an okay start. He dropped out of the team for a while because he got sent off. And then his end of the season, the last 2 or 3 months from Angus was brilliant. It was almost faultless for those last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And you agreed at the time, Ben. If I could be bothered to go back and listen to our episodes, you agreed he was brilliant.
I know, but I don't think he gets in over Woody or Icky.
He probably doesn't at the moment.
From what I remember, I mean, he didn't get in my team last year, but I'm not manager. I don't see what he does in training. So
he probably wouldn't get in at the moment, Ben.
Well, I don't know. You don't know what he's playing like in training, do you?
Well, no, you don't. But if things run true to form as they have done this season, until somebody is either injured or goes through a bad spell, they're not getting dropped. And that seems to be the way Warney's played it. So we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I mean, he might be in full training, but he's still going to be a long way from match fit. So,
yeah, it's suggested towards the end of January before he's anywhere near match fit.
Yeah.
So it's still a little while away, but any news like that is good news, and that's why we've talked about it. The second good news, Danny, is that we have no COVID cases. What we're speaking on Thursday night, and there have been no COVID cases confirmed. There will be tests on Friday morning. If they come back clear, then we are good to go for Saturday afternoon. Same with Bolton. Yeah. So other than Angus, we've got basically a full fit squad to pick from. We talked about this on Lincoln podcast. Are you still going with those changes you suggested for the Lincoln game, for the Bolton game?
Good question. I think now we've taken out the elements of potentially resting players because they've had the rest because we haven't played. Maybe those players could come back in. But yeah, I think in some cases the change is necessary. You know, like giving Freddie a bit of time out and bringing Grigg in. It's probably just to freshen it up a bit. Maybe Wiles could stick in midfield. Now he's had a bit of a break, but again, would you change it just to freshen it up just a little bit? But now that Reggie's back as well, I think he'll come back into defence more or less straight away on the right side. I think they're the only real places up for consideration that might need a change.
Ben, you were with us in the last episode because you prioritised something else over this podcast, which is quite disappointing.
Wasn't Ben on about people prioritising things over what they do as a collective just a few minutes ago as well?
I think it might have been, yeah. Some contradictions from Ben. Ben's been a hypocrite, I don't know.
This isn't my job. This isn't my job. This isn't my job.
Okay. Anyway, what were you doing? What's so important, Ben?
What day?
I don't know.
One day.
Wait, what day? It's Thursday, right?
It's Thursday today. I thought it was Sunday. I went to put bins out early because I thought it was Sunday.
Before I came in with the podcast, Mum says, "Can you take the bins out later?" And it's like, "Yeah, sure." Wait, what day is it?
Anyway, Ben, back to the point. What changes are you making based on the below par performance at Accrington? What does your starting 11 look like for Saturday? All being well.
Grigg's first name on the sheet for me. And then second is Smith.
Controversial.
It's not controversial. It is a bit. What's controversial is Grigg losing his spot. That's what's controversial. I don't know why. I understand.
He lost his spot because of the game.
Yeah, and Freddie had no right game, but
he scored twice.
When Grigg's not in the team, from what I've seen this season, we have no spark. Because Freddie's been working hard, right? But he is just I don't know if you mean. Because
You're going to start Grigg then.
I start Grigg. Basically, I start Grigg. I think him and Smith work well better than Freddie and Smith do. I think Grigg. I don't know why. Grigg starts. Needs to start. It's imperative for me that he starts. But I'm not a football manager.
Great word.
Thank you.
You're very harsh.
I'm not harsh. I don't get it because
he scores goals and he works hard, Freddie. I don't know what more you want from him.
All right. Didn't score on
Neither Smith did. Are we going to start laying on Smith?
No, but people like Freddie are meant to get goals when we're not playing very well, and he only gets goals from what I've seen when we're playing well, and that's not what poachers are meant to be for. But whatever, in my opinion, anyway.
Okay, fair enough. Anybody else, Ben? The midfield three was fine, but in the second half we definitely got dominated physically. Any thoughts on changes? We've got Adolfin, who's a bit of a giant, possibly bringing him in. That's my suggestion.
I think if we go back in time, I'd start him against Accrington, but I wouldn't change him against Bolton because I think Accrington. I'm not a manager, right?
How many times have you needed?
I don't because I feel like I'm being. I know.
Unless that's the reason you didn't turn up the last podcast, I'm not bothered, mate.
I feel like the way Accrington beat us is using their physicality and putting everything out wide and making us play through the middle, which we couldn't do. So personally, I don't really think it was the personnel. I think maybe a little bit part of it was the personnel that was on the field, but I think it was more tactics that kind of did us over against Accrington. So for me, it's the same midfield. It was just Barlas and Wiles, and who else was it? Rathbone. Yeah. I'm still yet to see how Maradona like Rathbone is yet. But maybe nah, I'm joking. For me, it's unchanged except Grigg and Freddie because I think it was tactics, not personnel.
Okay. Make any little changes? Fergie had a fairly quiet game, although watching the highlights, Becky set a couple of crosses up. Where's your?
I think
11?
Mikel Miller for me would start. I just because he's such an attacking player, and I feel perhaps maybe we've lost. We're lost. Those like these last few games where we've not performed particularly well. I don't feel we've been as aggressive as we were against the likes of Portsmouth and Sunderland and so on. I think we've allowed teams into the game more. We've certainly allowed Accrington to dictate the game, and so players like Mikel Miller just give you that outlet and give you that attacking.
He didn't do it when he came on.
Attacking. It was only on 15 minutes, wasn't it? But it was positive. He tried.
He moved forward. Yeah.
Well, he tried. He didn't succeed.
Yeah. Well, whatever. It's my opinion, Ben. Shut up.
Yeah. I'm just asking questions.
No. And the other one I'd be looking at is Ben Wiles to see how he's been in training, because certainly in the last few games he has been off it. I don't know whether I just wonder whether Ben Wiles is a little bit like Freddie in the sense that he's a bit of a confidence player, and if his confidence takes a knock, he mentally struggles to get back into the right place. Perhaps I don't know. I was just reading between the lines. It depends how he's been doing in training, but I might give him a rest and put Jamie Lindsay back in because he offers something different in there, or possibly a Doffin, but more likely Jamie Lindsay.
Lindsay's just similar to Rathbone, though, isn't he? That's the thing.
I think he's
got high energy. If you want high energy, go both of them, because then you're going to run them ragged.
Yeah, exactly.
You are sacrificing a little bit of quality, aren't you? Not much, but you are sacrificing quality.
A little bit.
To be fair, though, that is a midfield three we haven't actually seen this season. Rathbone, Lindsay, and then Barlaser as the quarterback. Barlaser. Sorry, Alison. But so that'd be quite interesting to see, because, like you say, we've got Rathbone and Lindsay who run themselves ragged, but Ollie's more of a pressing player, whereas Lindsay's more of he'll sit off and then make the explosive run to get the ball, and then with Barlaser as your quarterback, it'd be interesting to see how that would work. Obviously, like Ben keeps saying, we're not football managers here, so we don't know what it's like in training. They might have tried that and it's failed miserably. So if Sam Todd wants to send us over the training footage so we can analyse it for ourselves, that'll be great. Cheers, Sam. And then we can make expert opinions.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, partially because we don't know what to expect from Bolton. We are sort of lost a little bit, and although we're joking about mind games not working, it leaves Paul Warne in a situation where if they didn't have any COVID cases, he would know their best 11 or not far off their best 11.
Yeah.
Now, not really sure, because if you know they're going to be weak, you can go more aggressive. You can definitely play Mikael Miller. You could maybe play Sadlier as a number 10 because you can allow yourself a bit more attacking. But if you don't know that, if you assume that they're going to be a better team, you maybe can't allow yourself that much freedom. Ben's scowling because he's never seen Sadlier play well as number 10. Ben, I know that scowling.
I've never seen him play well. No, he just stopped it well. I've got nothing against the guy, right? And I'm sure
nothing against the guy, but I think he's rubbish. Is that what
I've never seen him play good. I've never seen him play well. I've never seen him play well.
That is a very powerful but in that sentence. I don't have anything against the guy, but
have you ever seen him play well? Except no, we're not counting Man City under 9s.
We're going against Morecambe. He only came on for a short time, but as a number 10, as a second striker, it looked good.
Even though we lost to Accrington at EFL Cup, he played well in that game as well.
One game.
He did play well in that one, yeah.
3 years? And he played well in one game?
2 years.
Listen, make no mistake about Kieran Sadlier. He's a good footballer. He just doesn't fit our style of play. It's just not. He can't get involved enough in the game in the positions he needs to be dangerous in the way that we play.
He was signed to play in a 4-4-2, but when Warney switched the system, it sort of left him properly on the outskirts in a 3-5-2. So like I say, it's nothing against him. It's just that our system doesn't suit him. But even then, he still puts in a shift, just not in a defensive manner. He's definitely more of an attacking player. But even though it's a system that he doesn't, well, I won't say that he doesn't agree with, his playing style doesn't agree with, he still puts the shift in.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Warney is still a bit passive over losing him in January, because we've seen interest from Bolton and Plymouth and Portsmouth, sorry. But Warney's still he doesn't expect him to go because it's that sort of group that we've got where they're all just really happy and don't really want. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, we've just seen in the advertiser that's out online now, I think, that Icky's really happy here. So that's probably another new contract that's going to be signed. So that's Woody, probably Icky, and most likely Chio already saying, they're happy here. And if Victor. And Victor as well, yeah. So that's 4. That's 4 players already going, I'm happy here and I don't really want to go anywhere else. So, Yeah.
I spoke to Pepe Lacey from the Portsmouth newspaper about Sadlier because they were on about signing him. And I felt really bad about what I was saying, but it's just all true. I really want him to succeed. He's got the technical ability. He's got the mind for it for me. You can see him. We talked about it, that his mind sometimes moves quicker than his feet. And that's just about time. That's just being out of form, I think. He's got something. He is clearly a good League One player in the right team. He's got it there. And I hope he finds it. I personally think number 10 is his best position, personally. I think he's got the protection from behind. He's got the extra support in front of him. He's got freedom. Somebody like Kieran Sadlier needs freedom. You cannot shackle him down with defensive responsibilities because you lose it. You lose his spark. And again, we might all be wrong here. I might be talking rubbish, but from watching him, that's how I see his game. He needs to be allowed that extra space, extra freedom, which we can't afford him.
To do what?
At the moment. To be expressive, to change the game, to make something happen.
With what?
To take a shot from 35 yards, to play a key pass, to put a beautiful ball in the box, which we know he could do. He's got so much good to his game. And I know he doesn't always show it, but he is one of the best crossers at the club. Without doubt, he is one of the best crossers at the club. Without doubt, he's probably the best set-piece specialist at the club because he takes them all the time. Other than the miss against Wednesday, he's clearly one of the best penalty takers because he's chosen to do that job. He's one of the best long-range shooters at the club, probably the best long-range shooter at the club. These are all really important key things if he was allowed to do them. We can't allow him to do them. That's the problem.
Okay, so he's the best set-piece specialist at the club, but missed the most important set-piece probably in a very important game. Okay,
you can allow him. It's not perfect, is it?
No, it's not perfect. But when you need a set-piece specialist to step up, is in one of the only games of the season so far that we needed someone to step up as a set-piece specialist.
To be fair, though, he has also scored 2 absolute wieldy free kicks. Yeah, that are probably 2 of the best free kicks I've seen scored since Barley's. There's one against Blackpool.
Were they cool?
Against Accrington and Man City. But take away the quality of the team aspect, the positioning
They're
of where the ball
starts, aren't they?
Yeah, the positioning of the ball when it goes into the net is expertly placed. To get the ball within that fine margin where it is, that is something that is very rarely taught. That's just an ability you've got.
Yeah. I've never seen him do it in an important game, personally.
We don't give a chance to do it. This is the point. We can't give him that chance because he costs us in other areas, which again is not really his fault because it's not what he does. It's like NFL. It's right. So let's take your NFL. It's like asking you to play quarterback.
It's not.
Well, it is.
It's completely different. For me,
being a wing back and a winger are two completely different jobs.
When he was in that number 10 role, first, right, when he's played on the wing and when he's played in midfield or wherever, I have not seen technical ability. I have not seen him take on a man.
He's not great at taking on a man. I will give you that.
So what's his role then? Passing.
To move the ball forward, not necessarily on his own. To pick a pass.
I've never seen him
do
anything. I don't want to be mean, but I've never seen him do anything. Maybe
to be fair, Ben, I'm not. This isn't a dig at you. You haven't been able to watch as much football as you would have liked this year. What I would like to that is that he hasn't set the world alight. Look, I'm not sitting here saying he's the saviour. I'm certainly not doing that. What I'm saying is he has the ability. I think he has the ability in the right circumstances to be an excellent League One player. I don't think he can do it in our team because of the way we set up. That's a shame. He's a Rotherham United player. If he don't play well, it's a shame because we're Rotherham United. I hope he stays. I personally do hope he stays. I think he's good. He's clearly very popular. Well, he's clearly very popular.
For his own career, it's better that he goes somewhere else.
Absolutely. For his career, it may well be. Personally, I would like to keep him around the squad because to bring that playoff bench is a luxury most other clubs don't have. So, from a selfish Rotherham United point of view, I'd like him to stay. If I was,
I think the one system that could work is if we are theoretically, well, hypothetically, if we're in the dynamism of a game and it's 1-1 and it's a really important game, and we want to switch from a more defensive line to a more attacking line, take Barlasser off and put Sadlier on and switch that midfield position from a quarterback to an attacking midfielder. That one switch could prove a difference, but because we haven't actually been in that situation yet where we have to try and scrape a win off somebody, because let's face it, we are one of the best teams in this division. Let's not beat about the bush. because we haven't been in that situation, we've not really seen Sadley's application as a cam before. He's more of a stand-in for Chio as it stands right now. And even when he's played on the wing at Doncaster, he's played as an out-and-out winger, which is a very attacking position, whereas here, it's a wing-back. Granted, it's more of an attacking wing-back, but it is still listed as a wing-back because we've got no flanks in the defence, so it is still a wing-back position. And sadly, his defensive game isn't the best because, like we've all said, he is an attacking-minded player. However, if we do keep him around, like Matt says, he'll be able to learn how to be a bit more defensive-minded, which could benefit us in future.
Yeah. It's one that splits the fans. We've got two comments totally different. Russ Vernon, sadly, has a good staying for Millers, but doesn't fit the system. I think he'll leave in January or summer. Chris Wright totally agrees with Ben. If he has that much ability, he would have had him in by now. We could probably go on for another 20 minutes, half an hour. We haven't asked Mick what he thinks, to be honest. But we ain't got time for that, Mick.
That's fine. That's fine.
So let's move on to score predictions before we do our end-of-year chat. Mick, we haven't talked for a while. What's score prediction for Saturday?
A bit difficult one, this, isn't it? We've got to get back on horse, so to speak. So I think we will win. I think we'll win comfortably. So I'm going to go for 3-0 Millers. I just think that the players are going to be desperate to get back into winning ways, not to have back-to-back defeats, and I don't know. I think we will have had a bit of a rocket this week off certainly off Woody, if not off Warney, and certainly Richie. off Richie as well, because those two I don't think will hold back. So yeah, I think we should be all out on Saturday.
Yeah, I hope so. Danny?
It's one of them games where the pressures are beginning to mount on it a little bit, because we have to look for a reaction based off the performance at Accrington. We'll have to look for a reaction now that Sunderland are more likely to be top spot than us going into the new year. So we'll want to get that spot back. But we have to mitigate it because it could be mind games from Bolton or it could be a depleted side. But then again, teams who've turned out with a depleted side have actually done really well. If you look at Millwall, Leicester, Oxford, yeah. So we'll have to mitigate that. So there'll be a lot of thinking going on. So I don't think we'll run away with it like the Bolton fan says. So I'm going to go for the same score and I'm going to say 2-0, but it'll be probably a very steady 2-0, I think.
Russ Vernon and Harley Kellick are exactly the same, Danny. Miller's 2-0, Miller's 2-0. Benjamin? I have a question before you give me results. I want to know how many bottles of water you've got with you because I've seen you drink 2 different bottles of water so far.
Yeah, well, I've been Sabia's in town. Great nice, bad boy.
You've been to, you've been to what? Sorry,
Sabia's Grill in town.
All right, wow,
Great nice. It's great nice. Got a burger, yeah, like 4 or 5 quid with some chips. Banging, honestly. I got the water from that, and then I got my standard big one.
Okay, apologies. A rare shout out for a company.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, if you want to sponsor us, just drop us an email. Thank you.
Yeah, you want to get any free food, I'll happily take that.
Other food outlets are available.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's a joke.
I don't know how much clearer I could be, really.
As I said, this is going to be an extended episode. We haven't got to our end of season, end of year awards yet, so this no surprise football is going to turn up.
Score prediction 2-0 for me. Per Lovren.
Everybody's going 2-0. I'll go 1-0. Make it nice and time.
We don't need that sort of stress on New Year's Day, Matt.
We don't know.
We'll all have hangovers as it stands anyway. We don't need that sort of stress.
No, typical us though, anyway, to do that. It's our first New Year's Day game since Barlaser's free kick. Barlaser's free kick against Blackpool. We didn't do everyone last year. Called off, didn't we? At Cardiff, with that lightest snow of all time, calling a game.
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Brilliant. So yeah, first one for 2 years, which is nice. Hopefully, we can similar result.
Well,
for another team from the northwest, beginning with B. Symmetry. Anyway, let's move on. End of year. It's for 2021 has been to say it's been a mixed year for Rotherham United. Is underplaying it a little bit, really. We've had the lowest of the lows, and we've had some really, really good moments. Danny has been in charge and has created some online polls for a few different categories. Danny, take it away.
Thank you. Now, before we get into the official categories, I would like everybody watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, to go into the comment section and tell us who your player of the year is. So, Matt, Mick, whoever's got the comments being able to be viewed, just give us roughly who you think is getting the most mentions at the end. Thank you. Right then. So, first category is goal of the year. Now, as Matt says, this poll was run on Twitter, so thank you to everybody who voted. In third place, we've got Edmonds Green against Cheltenham. In second place, we've got Chirag Benny against Gillingham. And in first place, of course, we have Ladipo against Sheffield Wednesday, who won it with about 93% of the vote.
Brilliant.
Next one.
Only one word, unfortunately, for everybody else.
Exactly. Next one, striker of the year. In third place, we have Will Grigg. Second place, Freddie Ladipo. And in first place, everyone's favourite Alan Shearer impersonator, Michael Smith.
Did he also get about 90% of vote as well?
Yeah. Excuse me. Next up, we have winger of the year. In third place, we have Ryan Giles, who I believe is now at Cardiff, I think.
Yeah, doing really well, to be fair.
Doing well, yeah.
Second place, we have Mikel Miller, one of the standout stars of coming into the team this season. And in first place, we've got Chirag Benny, of course, a smiling Irishman. Right then, so next
peasy.
up, easy peasy, exactly. Next up, midfielder of the year. Now, we have to give an honourable mention to Jamie Lindsay, who finished in 4th place with the vote. In 3rd place, we've got Ben Wiles. In 2nd place, Ollie Rathburn. And in 1st place, everyone's favourite, Geordie Perlow, Dan Barlasser.
I'd like to suggest, based on how much he's currently upsetting Wednesday fans, Lewis Wing should have been in with a shout for that. He did all right for us, and he is really, really upsetting Wednesday fans. He was a really good sleeper agent, I think, at that place. He's doing really well.
Yeah.
It's like Izzy Brown was their sleeper agent last season, wasn't it? No, it's Lewis Wing, exceptional. Excuse me. Next up, we've got Defender of the Year. Now, we have to give an honourable mention.
This has got to be on a Sunday. This has got to be on a Sunday. It's got to be on a Sunday. There's no.
He barely played.
I don't care. He played it once. He's the best defender that's been at club for the past couple of years.
So we've got the honourable mention for Angus MacDonald, who has been out this season, but he's on his way back. In 3rd place, we've got Big Dave Michael Inekwe. 2nd place, Wes Harding. And in 1st place, Richard Wood, the captain.
That's an outrage. That is an outrage. There's no way Harding is there.
Player of 2021.
I don't care. Did he play for us in 2021?
Barely.
Oh, did he play for us once?
Yeah, well, he made that. He played against Everton in 2021, which was a
phenomenal game. So
it may have been the way that he left the club.
Yeah,
that may have played that down a little bit.
True. He is the best player that's been in the club for the past couple of years, and I stand by that.
Come on.
I stand by that. He'll play in Premier League. He'll play in Premier League and play for USA national team.
That's if he don't keep getting injured. I don't think he's played for Preston yet.
So says the president of the fan club. It looks like
he's played a total of 82 minutes so far this season.
I think he's phenomenal.
Okay. Speaking, are we going to midfielders yet? Because
this is midfielders, yeah.
No, midfielders.
Yeah. We've talked about midfielders. I mean, there's 2 of the best midfielders in the division, probably the best midfielder in the division, and one that played for us last season, currently losing 4-0 at Sunderland. So, best midfielder, Bazza Bannon, is part of the squad with Lewis Wing there at midfield down at Swillsborough. 4-0 Sunderland.
Can we start saying Wednesday get battered everywhere they go now? Or is it still something on it? Next category.
What was your point there, Nick? You're saying Bannon's not good again?
Losing 4-0.
Shane Bannon's not good midfielder again? You're going to get clipped.
Save that to March or February.
Yeah. Save it till March.
Can I just point out to anyone who's going to clip it, I still think Bannon is a very good midfielder.
Oh, Ben, get out of his backside, mate. Move on.
Honestly, I think he's really good.
Were it you that paid money for that signed shirt? Did you buy it?
Excuse me. Next category is goalkeeper of the year. In 3rd place, Jamal Blackman.
Did he get any votes?
He did actually. He got
excellent.
I think 3%. 2nd place is Josh Vickers, and in 1st place is the Viking Victor Johansson. Now, this one is one that I've done my own research for, and that is Marksman of the Year. So I've basically compiled every single goal that was scored in 2021, which took a long time last night.
What was that?
And I have found who are the top 3 scorers. Do you want to hear the top 3, or do you want to hear the full list? I've only done it to the 10th place, by the way.
Go on, we'll go top 10. I think top 10 is
the
place to go.
So in joint 10th, we've got Giles, Wood, J. Cull, and own goals. All with 2 in 2021. In 8th place, we've got Mikel Miller and Michael Inekwe, both on 3 each. In 7th place, we've got Matt Crooks on 4.
Is that all? I thought it'd be
yeah.
more than that.
In joint 5th, we've got Sadlier and Barlasser. Sorry, Alison. Both on 5.
All competitions.
Oh, yeah, all competitions. In 4th place, we have got Will Grigg on 6. In 3rd place, we have got Ben Wiles on on 8. In 2nd place, Freddie Ladipo on 16. And in 1st place, Michael Smith with 21.
21 goals in a calendar year is very good.
That is very good.
Do you know what else is?
What?
6 goals in 4 months? What is it, 3 months? How long's Greg been here? 3 months?
Oh,
Greg.
He's been here since end of August, hasn't he?
yeah.
3 months? 4 months?
Ben, you're splitting opinion down here. Philip Rawlinson wants to know if your seat faces New York Stadium pitch. But Chris Wright was with you until you mentioned Barry Bannon.
And the penultimate category, the moment of the year. In third place, the record 6-0 win against Doncaster. Anyone who was there knew that were a special evening. Second place was completing the hell month of April with no sympathy from anybody else in the EFL. We just got on with it and did our job. And in first place is Matt Goodwin and John Breckin losing their minds at Hillsborough with Freddie Ladipo's late winner.
I think I might have that to listen to.
We have to, don't we?
I think I've got it. Here. Let me check.
Son, go on. Dig deep. Go on. Right in the... Crooks with the ball out to Ladapo. Counter-attack is on. Ladapo. Is he going to wait for a wing? Up against Harris. Ladapo. He's going to go for goal! Oh! Yeah! Yeah! It's stoppage time! Ladapo! He scored an absolute screamer to win the South Yorkshire Derby for Rotherham United. The first ever double for the Millers over the Owls. Would you believe it? For the 10 men of Paul Warne. Incredible scenes at Hillsborough. Every decision seems to have gone against Paul Warne, even leading into this one. But Freddie Ladapo has written his name into Miller's history.
I sort of miss listening to them on commentary, and I like going to games, but I really enjoyed listening to last year. That was always one of the good things about last year. I really enjoyed their commentary last year. So
yeah, it was brilliant.
One more. Did we say about last category, Danny?
The last category is player of the year. So, what has everybody been saying in the comments for
that? We have it's Reg, which I was a little surprised at. Player of the season, really tough. But I'm going to go Reg. That's from Philip Rawlinson. I also went to Grief Ben, which again we're all fans of that. And Reece Kellogg, Rathbone or Reg so far, which I think is fair.
Yeah, so I think Ramon Edmund Green takes Player of the Year, and that probably also covers Best Newcomer as well.
I think it does. Yeah,
Player of the Year
and Best Defender, Ben.
Get out of it.
Just not that.
That's Smith not one. I was thinking in my head, Player of the Year. Oh, this is guaranteed Smith. What? I didn't even going to mention he's best player on the squad. It's ridiculous.
Brilliant.
We need you on more, Ben.
So Michael Smith's your player of the year, Ben.
Yeah, well,
at the 12 of calendar year.
Yeah, not the season. Past week. I don't care. He's the best player on the squad for me. There's no one in the country
Ben,
that does what
you're interfering with a democratic process. And
there's no one in the country that does what he does. Tell me the player that does what he does.
You're right.
Yeah.
You get very defensive about your points. This is why I enjoy when you watch show.
Giroud is probably...
Giroud.
Anyway.
Giroud
is
probably
let's move on.
Close player.
Danny, who's your player of the year?
Of 2021 as a whole, I'm going to have to give it to Michael Smith, but he's edged it from his form this season. But as best newcomer, it is a tear up between Reg and Rathbone, isn't it?
Yeah. I said it before, and I said it again. I'm going Lewis Wing. I don't care. I'm enjoying his work. I'm doing it. I'm a big fan of his most recent work.
You see, you have got a good point, because when he came to us, he was very good, wasn't he? I mean, he nearly kept us up on the last day of the season. But the best thing is he's gone to Wednesday and has been utter dross, which is quite funny.
Exactly. Please mine. Mick?
I would go for Richard Wood. I would go for Richard Wood because he's got everything. He's the ultimate professional.
Yeah, he's a timeless man, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Time has no effect on him. From our point, from what we look at him, his body's probably in bits, but it just had no effect on him.
But it's a tough shout for me between him and Chio, because Chio is just such an exciting player to watch, and I understand what everybody says, or a lot of people say about maybe his final ball's not great, but it just brings so much more to the team than your bang average winger, you know. But Richard Wood, I think, probably just edges it for me.
Okay, that's fair enough. We will do our end of season, end of year podcast moments. Now, Danny, you've only been with us for part of the year. Ben, you've only been part of the year. I'll let you guys have a think while we do that. Russ Vernon says Reg, Smith, or Chio for him. That's interesting how much impact Reg has had on people, which I find quite interesting. Ben, do you have a moment of us being together over the past 12 months, which has been, doesn't have to be good, just memorable?
I think Mickey in Wendy's shirt.
Oh, Mickey in Wednesday's shirt, yeah.
And him getting proved wrong about Bannon being a good player.
I enjoyed that a lot. Mick's got a very serious face. Someone mentioned that. It's his own fault for having such a big mouth.
But listen, if you're going to ask me the same question, I have to say that triggering so many Sheffield Wednesday fans with that comment really has been a highlight of the year for me.
Of
the year so far, of the year for me, I said, not my life. It's not a highlight of my life. It's definitely highlighted the year for me, because it just took off, and they just
what do you actually think about Bannon?
Brilliant.
What do you genuinely think about Bannon?
He's all right.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Would you take him?
I'll put him on bench, mate. I think we've established where he'd play in our team if I were manager.
Being dead serious, where would he go in your team?
That's the question. Are you picking Barlas over him? I'm picking Barlas over him.
Let's not get bogged down in this again. He would not get in our
team.
Picking
him up with Rathbone every day.
I mean, Rathbone's a central defender. No, he isn't. I'm thinking Red. We'll cut that. Don't worry about it. It's not like it's live.
I say, if Mick's going on about Bannon again, it'll be one of them where it's like, caught in 4K.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I said that for February. So you're going the triggering, Mick.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. I also like you triggering Luton fans, which was unexpected.
Yeah. Well, that went out of blue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well out of blue, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Danny, how you've only been in since the summer. Is there a moment for you so far?
I think the Sheffield Wednesday vlog getting 2,500 views, and there are so many rattled Wednesday fans in the comments. It is beautiful. It's like if I've rattled them by being at the game, and Mick's rattled them by being Mick, effectively. So yeah, that's my personal highlight. But I think the podcast highlight as a whole is actually from before my time, when yourself and Mick were both reacting to the Wednesday game, and you also lost your minds, as people have heard on the outro. When I heard the outro for the first time, I were in pieces. It was fantastic.
That went crazy, and all that had about 20,000 views within a few hours on Twitter. They went absolutely crazy. That's my moment. That's my moment of the year for this. That were just in the middle of lockdown, when it was February, March time last year, in the middle of a horrible time, and then just to get that was just something special. I still get told off. My wife still mentions that now for me shouting and screaming so loud.
Where was I when that happened? I was at my granddad's because I was living there at the time, because that's a different story about what happened with that. But we had it on the big telly. I had to get iFollow up on my laptop and then plug it into the big telly via the HDMI from my PS4, because of course my granddad don't have the facilities for it. And I was just sat there saying, it's gonna be a draw. This Wednesday have got a corner. Oh, please don't score. And you know when you just sort of like edge on your seat, and then when Freddie scores, I jumped up an hour off up and down living room to the point where I was about to round a corner, slipped, and did my hamstring in on my leg. So I actually had an away day injury while sat on my settee, which was something bizarre. But no, like you said, that was a fantastic game. I think we just come off 5 losses in a row as well.
Like that,
yeah, something daft like that, and then to do that, incredible. I don't care. We lost 2-0 to him in the summer. That moment tops it every time.
Yeah, it does. Did double, didn't we, last year? So it's been up and down here. Final from Stats, Russ on Twitter, which is his Twitter handles @_media_journal. If you don't follow him already, he's put together our stats for the last 12 months, and they make for pretty good reading. To be fair, in all competitions, we've played 57 games, and we've won 26 of those 57 games, which is again not a bad record. To say we got relegated, it's a pretty good sort of set of results. In our league form, we picked up 73 points out of a possible 147, which is like 49% of points available on the table. And I know we've been in the middle of 21 game unbeaten run, which probably skews it a little bit. That's a lot of points to pick up. To say we went down is it hurts a bit more, actually, now I think about it. Thanks, Russ. And we should end by saying thank you to everybody who has watched us over the past 12 months, particularly longer than that, but the past 12 months. We've tried hard, particularly over those first few months of the year when we were in lockdown. We had to try really hard to try and get some interesting stuff out there. And I think we've done all right in this season. I hope you've enjoyed it. People seem to be enjoying it. Danny, it's great to have you aboard, mate. It's been, no doubt you've improved the show, no end.
No, it's a pleasure to be asked to come on, to be honest, and looking forward to whatever comes next in 2022.
Exactly. Ben, we're looking forward to it a few more times.
Obviously, you need to get ready for end of season awards. Danny, you need to get your tux ready.
End of season awards is a black tie event.
I don't know if you saw it last one. I don't know if you saw it last one.
No, I didn't.
No, it's a black tie event.
Yeah.
God.
Black tie event, recorded in person.
We should record it in person, yeah.
That'd be good.
We did last year.
We did.
Did you have like the proper podium and like the cards with like the envelopes for winners and everything?
We had the golden envelopes. We didn't have a podium, but we had golden envelopes.
We need to like find a podium or something. That'd be hilarious.
I agree. We'll see if we get some special guest announcers, something like this time as well. We'll see if we can step it up a notch.
See what Bruce Buffer's doing.
What's he doing?
Bruce Buffer? Or
I know he is. You mean getting to announce it?
Yeah.
Probably out of our price range, to be honest with you.
You never know. Guys don't get.
True. We will, at some point in the near future, have another Rotherham United player to talk to. It's not booked in, but it is happening. There's no secret. With Dan Barlaser, I said on the Christmas episode, he'll come back on. So in the next few weeks, we'll be speaking to Dan Barlaser about Rotherham United, about his time with the Millers. Whenever it happens, we'll let you all know because we all want fan questions like Victor. The Victor episode from all you guys' questions were brilliant. That made the episode. If you haven't already watched those 2 episodes, you need to go back and watch them. Finally, let's take it to 90 minutes. Have you got any New Year's resolutions that you'd like to share with the group? I asked you all at the start of the episode, so you've got no excuse for not thinking of anything. If anybody in the comments wants to mention as well, if you've got any Rotherham United or football related New Year's resolutions, sure, they don't have to be, but Ben, go on.
To say to more people how good Michael Smith is.
Okay. Now, stop spreading the word of how good he is. You need to be the opposite of that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Same.
Mannon's a good player.
Ooh, I don't like that. Okay. Mick, anything?
No. I'm past making New Year's resolutions. I've thought about it and I can't think of a single one, mate. My New Year's resolution is to follow Rotherham United. I've seen it. Yeah,
oh my God!
5-0 to
Sun's going to be Wednesday. 5-0.
Wednesday, get battered. No. I'm going to
get
Andy.
Yeah, my New Year's resolution is to follow Rotherham United into Championship, mate.
Okay, mate. Yeah, Danny, anything?
Well, of course, I've got my own personal New Year's resolutions that I'm trying to work on. But my main 2 is to continue going to every Rotherham game this season. I've been told how much of an effort it is going to be, but I've done it so far, so that's carrying on. And the second one is to, at some point before the end of this season, report on a game in the Rotherham press box. That is currently, it's like option 1 on my bucket list. That's like the Kickstarter on my bucket list. So that's my New Year's resolution, to get into the Rotherham press box and do a report on it, whether it's for the podcast, for uni, or for a match report or anything.
So Sam Todd, if you're listening, which you may well be, there you go.
Hello.
Within your gift, Sam.
Yeah, brilliant. And mine will be to hopefully continue making stuff that you all enjoy, if you are enjoying it, to improve on the content we put out. Put it that way.
It's a low bar.
So, well, exactly. This is the thing with resolutions. If you set yourself just a little bit above the ground, it's achievable, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Philip Rollinson, thanks again, lads. All the best and good health for 2022. And that's
thank you.
Ditto to you, Philip, and to all Rotherham fans. I says we can go on. It's been fantastic doing this, and we'll continue to do it for as long as we can. And we will be back next year. We'll be back on Sunday night, live on YouTube. Monday morning, we'll be out through the audio section, even though it's still bank holiday. We will be looking back, hopefully, at the Bolton game and the Papa John's returns on Tuesday, which Danny's making a lovely trip to Crewe Alexandra on Tuesday night.
Yes.
So please subscribe. We're nearly 800 followers on Twitter. So if you're not on Twitter, go over and follow us. We can sneak over 800 before New Year. That'd be amazing. If you can subscribe on Twitter, on YouTube, we're nearly at 450. Please subscribe to iTunes, follow us on Spotify, 5-star ratings, like it. All this amazing stuff that most of you have already done, but some of you haven't. Please do it. New Year's resolution. Show your love for the podcast. That's what you should all do. Reece Kelly, final comment. Have a good New Year, everybody. I'll be there New Year's Day, hopefully, as will everybody else. Benjamin, it's been a pleasure having you on for most of the year. I hope you have a nice New Year and do not get too drunk.
I don't drink, so I don't think that'd be a problem, but thank you.
Other than trying to get a pint at the pub of the day, but whatever. Move on.
Yeah, but that's different.
Ending the year with a lie. That's fine, mate. Let's move on.
Yeah. Going to the pub with your mates is just like, all right, whatever.
Don't drink. Went to pub with his mates. Danny, same for you, mate. Happy New Year. I hope you have a good night.
Yeah, thank you, lads. Happy New Year. But now that you've said that about Ben, why do I have the image of Will Mackenzie from The Inbetweeners doing it? I'm definitely a man. Oh, dear. But no, thank you. Happy New Year to everybody else and to everybody who's watching as well. 2022 is going to be better, I think.
It can't be worse.
Exactly. Bars are already low, so anything that's an improvement is still an improvement. So off we go.
Exactly. And same to you, Rick. Happy New Year, and I'll see you Tuesday. Thank you. Freddy's on one-on-one. Freddy's fairly shoot. Can Freddy shot? Yeah!